in bronze medal position with 427.5 kilos. It's Sagan Chatterjee.
Yes, that is me. The skinny looking guy being given the third place medal by European champion Nathaniel Messiah, who also happened to be my coach and handler for this competition. I competed in the sub-junior under 59 kilo British national finals, and I managed to get a bronze medal. For this being my first ever national finals and second ever meet, it was not a terrible result. But the question is, how did I get here? Let's go back to January 13th, 2024. So after lifting weights on and off for about a year and a half now, having slipped my disc twice in the same time period, I decided to try my luck in powerlifting. For my whole life, I've been pretty light, always being around 60 kilos. And luckily for me, one of the weight categories in the IPF happened to be 59. I checked the competitions that were available in the British Powerlifting Federation and saw the sub-junior and junior national finals. But to get into one of these events, you need a qualifying total. Now, over here you can see a bunch of numbers on the table. These are the qualifying totals needed to make the nationals for the certain age and weight categories. Now, being 18 years old, I came under the sub-juniors. So the qualifying total I needed at under 59 kilos was 325. Now this seemed like a piece of cake to me. All I needed to do was enter a meet and go get the qualifying total, which I felt pretty confident I could get in probably around 2 lifts. However, living in London, for some reason, the closest meets were about 2 hours away. So I planned a day out to the southwest to go compete at the Southwest Power in 2024. And as you'll see, things did not go how I expected it to go. Now, the opener here was 135 kilos, which I felt pretty confident to move at a decent enough speed. But as you saw from this clip, it moved terribly. So I already knew that this was going to be a hard meet. Now, despite having a pretty rough day, I still managed to get the qualifying total pretty comfortably. Squat, I ended up getting 137.5 kilos. Bench, I ended up getting 87.5 kilos. And deadlift, which was the only thing that went to plan, 195 kilos. This got me a total of 420 kilos. However, this performance made me realise that I was very inexperienced. And if I wanted to get to nationals and do decently well, I needed more guidance. See, leading up to this event, I was so scared of not making the weight that I ended up starving myself 2 or 3 days before. And I definitely felt that on the day. Now, and even on the day, I made so many mistakes. I didn't know what was happening. I was stressed about it being my first meet. I was getting calls for knees, for feet, that I didn't even implement in my training. So this made me realise that I needed extra help. And I needed a coach. So, enter Nathaniel Messiah. Now, for the few of you who don't know, Nathaniel Messiah is a famous YouTuber and the current under 93 junior European champion. And he had recently announced that he was going to start coaching. And I knew to be the best, I had to learn from the best. So, I filled out a form and Nathaniel set me up with the nutrition and the plan. So, into prep we go. So, prep was very up and down. It wasn't the smoothest that it could have been. For the first 4 weeks, I'd say prep was going alright. I was feeling a lot stronger. On week 4, I had PR'd on everything. On week 4, I actually got my first 200 kilo deadlift. And it was looking pretty good, pretty strong. And I was excited for the next 4 weeks. However, for weeks 5 and 6, all my lifts took a massive hit. And I was losing confidence in myself. Mentally, I just wasn't there. And I did start to bring it back for the last 2 weeks. However, I think a big problem I had, and this was completely on me, was I was completely overshooting my RPEs. When there'd be for an RPE around 6, I would try and do like a weight that would probably be around RPE 8 or 9. And that's completely on me. and I tried to bring it down a bit, knowing that I was fatiguing myself, especially on my secondary days, which would have a massive effect on my primary days. And so that's something I could definitely take from this, because my deadlift didn't peak enough towards the end. I think squats were getting better though. Squats, I managed to. I think my heaviest squat during prep was 155 for one. Deadlifts, it stayed around 200. That was the heaviest I'd pulled the whole prep. And surprising, week 4 of 200, I got two or three reps. So yeah, and then the rest of the prep I could only pull one. And bench, again, we stayed around 95. I think the heaviest I went was 97.5, and that was a struggle. So I think definitely there's stuff to work on here. But even going into nationals, I think we were looking at around 460, 470 total, despite the end of prep not being the greatest. And 2 weeks before nationals, my car was broken into, and all my gym stuff was taken. This included my wrist wraps, my knee sleeves, my singlet, my shoes, which is why I'm wearing Air Forces in some of these clips. And this definitely put me back a bit. Training in Air Forces especially was not a fun experience. But thankfully, with the help of some friends, we were able to get some of the stuff that I needed in time for the comp. Now, leading up to the week, which was my taper week before comp, the list actually got a lot better. I think because I was letting my body actually recover from all the stress involved from lifting. My taper week was actually very good. This was a 7 a.m. morning session, and I went pretty light. Like, I was going for around RPE 4, RPE 5. And all the weights did feel like RPE 4, RPE 5. So that gives me some confidence. Now, let's get into nationals. So just a quick rundown on how squats went. As you saw, that I went a lot lighter than I wanted to go. I think on the day we were trying to get 160. I think that was towards my top end, maybe even a bit more. We did originally open at 140. However, I was on 3 hours of sleep, having had some paracetamol the night before, which just happened to have caffeine in it. And we just knew when we were warming up that the weights weren't going to move as smoothly as we would have hoped. However, we still went decently. We went 135, and we're trying to push 150. At the end, we did opt to go 147.5, and I think the weight selection was amazing. Like, Nathaniel's weight selection throughout the day was just perfect and spot on. Like, just seeing that experience being put into work, and like that, it took so much stress off of me. Because if I was to choose the weights, I would have probably bombed out on squats. So yeah, great weight selection by Nathaniel, and squats went pretty smoothly. The last attempt was 3 reds, just because that was a huge mistake on my part. I didn't wait long enough for the rack command. So they said rack as I already started racking my weight. I was very hyped up for the lift, and I completely forgot about actually re-racking the weight, or like waiting to be told to re-rack the weight. So I ended up with 142.5 on squat, and I think that put me around 4th position right now. So yeah, onto bench. So bench went all right. I think again we were around 5 kilos less than we had projected. We opened at 85. We wanted to open at 87.5 and try push 97.5, which was the most I'd got in prep. But again, just feeling really tired. Weights were moving slowly, a bit slowly during warm up. But we still got a decent bench, right? I think we're still around 4th right now. However, we knew leading into deadlifts, I could definitely pull it back. Even we were hoping I could put it for
lovely
third or
smooth
second.
lift.
And so that was the plan.
2 to 1, good lift.
With bench, I have noticed, and Nathaniel's noticed as well, that my arch is quite poor. Now, whether this is for flexibility or my foot position, well, I have no idea.
And all the way.
But
wow.
we're gonna work on this in the coming training phase.
2 to 1.
So,
it's a good lift.
at this point,
Of course, it was
we're
good weight
pretty much
selection. He's got
looking at third.
Nathaniel there.
We were fourth right now.
Nathaniel's British
but
champion.
we knew my
GB
deadlifts
athlete,
would carry.
experienced lifter.
And now we're going to try and fight for second. So, on to the deadlifts.
Sagneet now, 180 kilos on the bar. Moved lovely and fast. At least 10 kilos more and hope that his competitor doesn't get the lift.
This lift will move him into second.
So, right now, we were, I think, in third place.
One, it's a good lift.
And
now moves into second.
we needed
He's done what
Josh
he
Luke
can now, so
to
it's all about his...
either fail or we go up 10 kilos more than him. So we would have to go pull 207.5. Now, I'm not completely sure why we didn't. I think we had already given our second weight selection. So in deadlifts, you get to change your weight twice, I believe. And I think we've originally had it at 200. However, we then already had given 202.5 because we saw that. So Josh originally had got 2-1, 2 reds, 1 white on a second, and I think we gave it in before they overturned the lift. So we thought that, we just need to pull 202.5, which would be 10 kilos above 192.5, and we would be second. However, they overturned it, and I think by that point it was too late. I'm not sure if we could have given it in. Gone for 207.5. But, yeah, Josh performed amazingly on the day. Well, he didn't perform to his usual capabilities, but he definitely pulled when he needed to, so that's off to him. And
His
that
coach,
leads us on to
Nathaniel,
the final
there.
deadlift.
Tell him he's got it. Oh, it's not even for second.
2.5 under Josh's.
Okay, this is
It's
so
still a
exciting
huge
though.
pull.
202, come
Biggest
on.
pull of this flight.
Let's go, Sang. Wow.
Wow!
He probably had more. Oh no.
And we definitely did have more. The strength was there, right? The 202.5 moved so quickly. I think on the day, we definitely had 5 more kilos, maybe even 210. But that would be probably pushing it. That would be a big grinder. But we definitely had 5 more kilos in terms of strength. Now, the reason that I was given 2 reds was for soft knees. Now, if you see here, the image I paused on, I feel like that is quite harsh. But, you know what? It just shows me that it might be something that I need to work on for the next training block, right? Try and make the knees, not even a question. So that's completely fine. We did see this problem while we were warming up, so I was just leaning a bit too far back. But then the first 2 lifts were completely fine. I feel like the third lift basically was the same as the other 2. But you know what? We stayed in third. We had pretty much secured third place. So yeah, that wraps up for the day. So overall, we got a total of 427.5 kilos. This was with 142.5 kilo squat, missing out on 147.5 kilos due to not waiting for the rack command. Bench, we went 3 for 3 with our total being 92.5 kilos. And deadlift, we ended up getting 192.5 with missing 202.5 for soft knees. Overall, I enjoyed myself. I really had a fun time. And it being my first national event, getting a third place position on even my second meet is pretty good. I think in terms of how I projected myself to perform, It was definitely not as good as we wanted it to be, but being on 3 hours of sleep, it does have a massive impact on my performance, and well, we definitely saw it there. But on the day, we did have enough to get second place, right? It was just some technical issues, and that's something we can definitely work on moving forward, especially as we gain more experience and me and Nathaniel work on it throughout prep a bit more. We definitely can fix that in, right? I also want to say a huge thanks to Nathaniel for coaching me throughout the process and also handling me on the day. On the day, he was absolutely perfect, and the prep not going completely to plan was definitely on me because I was not following the RPEs that Nathaniel was setting out for me, and his plan was very good. It worked definitely for the first 4 weeks, even though I was shooting my RPEs. But however, there is going to be that backlash, right? I'm just going to get into feeling more lethargic as the weeks go on if I put that intensity to max at the start of the peak. So that one part's on me. But on the day, he was literally perfect. The calls he made were just incredible. Like, they were literally to my max. And I think on that deadlift, we definitely had more. But at the end of the day, the deadlift wouldn't have counted. So it was a very good event, and honestly a great experience for just having that handler putting that stress off of me. And I've been a fan of Nathaniel's for a while, so just us working together these past few months have been incredible, and I'm really excited to see what's to come. I also want to thank my friends and family who have supported me throughout this event, and for also coming down to see me and watching me on the live stream. Now, going on to what's going to happen in the future in my powerlifting journey. So we've decided that our time in the 59s is coming to a close. And especially because I'm growing, we don't want to be at a very lightweight for this long. So we are planning to bulk up, get into the 66s, but we want to try put on as much muscle as possible. So it's just going to be a very slow bulk in the coming year. And I'm just really excited to get back into training. In terms of YouTube and posting videos here, I am planning on doing more of this. I would like to sort of vlog my powerlifting journey, and maybe not just powerlifting, maybe with some other things as well, like a few of my other hobbies and passions, as to just put some content out there for you guys and take you along with me on my journey. However, I'm going to have to focus on my A levels. So then they're in a month or two. So we're going to put our whole focus on that first. And then, yeah, definitely, if you guys want to stay tuned, just subscribe to the channel. And I'm excited for what's to come.